Joining me in the kitchen today for coffee and cupcakes is my good friend, business partner, etiquette expert, and sometimes sister wife, Ashley Underwood of Ashley Underwood Design.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here on Coffee and Cupcakes.
Yes, it's delight.
Cheers. Do you think that we should tell them that you're not actually my sister wife?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Although I love to cook in her kitchen, so.
Just so that we're clear, the only sister wifing duties that are occurring here is like cooking and cleaning up the kitchen.
And a little bit of laundry sometimes.
And a little bit of I think I've done the laundry.
I've done your ironing.
She has done my ironing because she loves to iron, which is crazy. If you have a friend that loves to iron, hold on to them and never let them go.
And sometimes invite them for dinner and then ask them to iron your napkins. It works out well.
It works out very well, which is perfect because this really ties into our topic that we have today, which I really feel is like our duty for millennials and coming generations to know about.
Yes.
How to be a good host and how to be a good guest. And there's so much to talk about that we're breaking it up into two segments. And so we're going to talk about hostessing first.
Yes.
That's not really the proper word.
Hostessing.
Hostessing.
Yeah,
It is.
Sure.
Sometimes I think I make these things up. And then she tells me whether I'm right or wrong. You are one of the few friends that I have that really like excels at entertaining and cooking and loves all of that. And what I really appreciate about you, and I think I appreciate this about myself too, hopefully, is that...
Yeah, because you are also a wonderful hostess.
Thank you. Is that we love to excel in both the business realm and in the domestic realm.
Yep.
And I don't feel like they need to be mutually exclusive. But I do feel like there's so much emphasis with women today on careers and excelling at business, and that almost you have to neglect that other side. And I mean, have you felt that way at all in your experience?
Well, yes. I mean, I think that there's a social expectation. It's kind of two-sided, though. It's like you want to be amazing at your job and earn a great income and be able to provide for your family. But then there's also the expectation that you are the primary person cooking, that you're the primary person cleaning.
Right.
And certainly when it comes to being a mom and taking care of kids and managing schedules, that often lands in the lap of the wife. Or the woman in your life. And so, it can sometimes be complicated. And I think part of being a good hostess is actually making sure that your husband knows what his responsibilities are.
I am so glad that you said that, because as you were talking, I was like, oh shit, this is like exactly what goes down in my house, is that my loving, wonderful, adoring husband, who is awesome, does not know how to lift a finger in the kitchen and when it comes to helping put together a party, unless it's grilling. Like, he's the grill master.
He is.
And thank God for that. But so you mentioned something about your significant other, like whoever that is. It doesn't matter, because you can also be throwing maybe a dinner party with another friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
That these talk a little bit more about these roles and responsibilities being defined.
Well, first of all, I have to give major props to my own mother, who was also an amazing hostess. And I got to grow up watching her host, watching her interact with my father. Even us as kids, when my parents were throwing a party, we were always invited to join for some part of it. And we were also expected to participate. And when it comes to my dad, he was very aware that he was in charge of making sure that everybody's coats were removed and put away in a place that they knew where they were, because there's nothing worse than going to a home and having to leave and not knowing where your jacket is.
Or stepping through the door and not knowing where to put your coat in your handbag.
And
then you end up setting on the floor or a chair, and then it gets moved. That is a really, really good one I think people forget about. And honestly, I sometimes forget about it too.
Yeah, and it's totally okay. Be like, we're putting your jacket in our bedroom. When you're ready to go, it's on the bed. Right. And lay them individually, don't pile them in a pile, so that people can walk in and find their jacket. Right. And sometimes, like if everybody's jacket is black, I will fold them with the outside in because they'll be able to see the lining or some kind of identifying detail that will let them know, oh, that's my Cole Haan jacket or whatever.
I would never even think about that. That's why she's here, folks. Because of these brilliant little tidbits.
Well,
I also get from me.
We lived in Chicago, so there were a lot of coats. There were a lot of coats. I think it might have been the coat thing that pushed my parents to move to the Caribbean, which we did when I was 13. So we went from lots of coats to no coats.
That's what pushed me to move to LA.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing here is that we had very different experiences, because one of the things I was going to mention is that, like, if you feel stressed out by hosting something, like, don't feel badly about it. Like, it's something you're just supposed to know. If you didn't have any experience with this growing up and no one taught it to you, it's not like it's just supposed to be part of your DNA.
Right.
Like, I didn't really
watch
grow
your
up with
friends.
it.
Watch, Google it. There are tons of top 10 things to know when you're hostessing.
Right.
And so there's a lot of information that you can learn, that you can glean off the internet, that you can talk to friends about. But going back to my dad.
Right. Roles and responsibilities. Love that.
So coats and then drinks. They kind of go together.
Oh,
so can I
yes.
get your coat? What would you like to drink? And, if let's say your partner, whoever you're working with on this party, feels anxious about that, well, you can talk, like, maybe you make a signature drink. There is only one drink. So
I actually like that. As long as you have a few things on the side that maybe are non-alcoholic, or even just some
but they're quick to
sparkling
grab,
soda.
like a sparkling. You can buy those little Perriers.
Right.
So,
Those are very good.
hi, John, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Can I have your coat? What would you like to drink? We have a signature cocktail of, I don't know, margaritas.
Right.
Or we have sparkling water or beer. What can I get you?
Because
really easy to grab.
You're also not overwhelming them. A lot of times when a guest comes in and you just ask them, what can I get you to drink? And you have a full bar, they oftentimes don't know how to respond. They're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So I love that idea. You're relieving them of having to make decisions. They don't have to go, where do I put my coat? Because you're taking it from them. They don't have to go, okay, well, what do I need to get comfortable? You're offering them 2 drinks. They choose one. I love this. You're putting them at ease.
Yeah. And a lot of hostessing with ease and comfort and happiness for the host has to do with organization. So plan out your menu, plan out how it gets cooked. Do you want to be part of the pre-dinner get-together? Well, then maybe you roast a chicken and potatoes and vegetables, and they're pretty much all done. Or, if you want to offer appetizers, cheese, crackers, canapes, they can all be put in the oven in advance and be
Right. I totally agree.
in the mingling area.
As much that it can be done in advance, the better. The more that can be done in advance, the better. And of course, you mentioned Google and like all the cookbooks and wonderful cooking sites that are out there. You can specifically search for make ahead recipes, make ahead hors d'oeuvres, things like that will even tell you.
Yeah, we were just talking about this yesterday. Trader Joe's has tons of really great small bite appetizers.
Yeah.
So if this is your first leap into the world of hosting a dinner party, get those. They're wonderful. People will be happy to eat them.
Don't try on your first go at it to do your own stuffed mushroom appetizer and then all of this. Cut yourself. Okay, so that's another thing. So I love the things that we're mentioning about having clearly defined roles and responsibilities, maybe even limiting, your drink menu to a signature cocktail, anything that you can make ahead in advance, and picking the areas where you really want to shine creatively and then pull back on the other areas. So I like to kind of focus on one thing that's going to be the standout element of the get together. And so that could even be the signature cocktail, or it could be the entree, or it could be a very special appetizer that I've always wanted to try and present, but you're not trying to do all of it all at the same time. It's economizing where you're putting your wow factor.
Definitely. And also when it comes to wow factor, I think that people get a little overwhelmed by what we see in photographs on Pinterest and whatnot of dining tables with so many accoutrements and, make it simple, but make it pretty. Go to IKEA and buy a ton of candles. lighting candles is easy. The candles are inexpensive, but they create
sure they're not
a wow
scented.
factor. Yes, not scented.
Make sure they're not scented for a dinner party.
Yes.
And all that shit you see on Pinterest, it ain't real, okay?
Yeah.
It is not real. There's people that are behind the scenes creating these photo shoots.
It's their whole job.
It's their whole job. It's like when I was on the HGTV show. It's like, yes, everything that was filmed was really happening, but you don't see the 25 people behind the scenes making it happen along with the 4 people that are on screen. So it's the same with those photo shoots. And that's why I think we see a lot of things like the Pinterest fails and posts things like that are really funny. But I love what you mentioned about the centerpiece too. You're also economizing there, where you're maybe picking one element and multiplying it out. One simple white candles, and you're just doing multiples of them. It could be a simple flower that you just do multiples of in little mason jars, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I wanted us to share with each other too, which is kind of a little bit of a discovery, is I wanted us to share both what our favorite thing about being a hostess is, and then also our biggest pet peeves. And so as we share that with each other, that might bring us into some other tips for you to take away from that. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my tea. Okay, I'm all right. In case anyone was concerned.
Yes. Well,
I'm all right.
My favorite thing about hosting is I love to I'm very nurturing. I love to mother people, and I find cooking is a way for me to nurture people. So that is really something that
It's so good. Your salmon. Your salmon. We talk about it. We talk about it days and weeks after she's made it. So good.
I find
so it's fulfilling.
Yeah, it's very fulfilling for me, and I find the whole part of coming up with a recipe and cooking it and all of that, I find it all very zen and creative, and it actually calms me down. And then I love it when people are happily eating the food that I've imbued with my love into it. It's like they're eating my love.
That is so sweet. Do you want to hear mine? Do you want to hear my favorite
What's
thing
your
about
favorite
hostessing?
thing?
The compliments.
They're not bad either.
No, okay. I mean, no, I'm joking, but I'm kind of not joking. It is a little bit of it is a little bit of a self-serving thing. But I really love to be able to do something so that someone has such an experience that they then come back to me and tell me about their good experience or compliment me on something. I do. I'm Lady Gaga. I do it for the applause, right? That's part of it.
Just don't wear a meat dress to dinner.
No. Dinner is served. I am the entree. There's probably like weird subcultures in LA where that stuff actually happens.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
It's not only in LA, baby.
But along with that, my other favorite thing is when I talk to people later and they tell me what a good time they had, not just in relation to something that I did, but because of the other people that they met. So if it's a party where not everyone knows each other, that is my hands down favorite thing to hear, is people saying, I had such a great time meeting so many awesome people. All your friends are amazing. I just loved everyone. Honestly, that's way better. That's like the best compliment
it
that
is.
I can get. I love that.
And I think there's equal time for having a group of really close, intimate friends come over, and also mixing it up and having people that you have an idea like, well, this person and this person really love to play tennis, and those two people grew up both in the Midwest, and you kind of think about things that they have in common that might pull them together as a group. It really creates dynamic conversation, and it can be kind of an adventure because you really don't know what's going to happen in an evening with a bunch of strangers. Whereas like when we get our group of girls together,
we already know we're like family already. But I love that.
And it's like a love fest.
Yes.
But we kind of know that it's going to be a love fest, and and I relish that, but
there's no danger.
Yes,
right. There's no danger of
danger's exciting.
There is a little
adventure,
a bit of that. Do you just love how we're sitting here talking about the most dangerous thing is inviting strangers?
Hostessing.
It's so fraught with danger and excitement. Can you imagine? We're such rebels.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But no, it
rebels
is.
with mascara, baby.
And stuffed mushrooms. But it is. I agree with that. And I like that aspect of it because it makes you feel really good whenever people do hit it off. It's it's like being responsible for setting someone up, on a good date. Yes. It makes you feel very happy. Well, so on the flip side of it, I think we can get some tips out of this, because this is all for novice hostesses. Hosters. I'm really having trouble with my words today. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, this one riles me up. I can't. It really frustrates me. My nickname is El Fuego. So
that's what she is wearing. It's on fire already.
So, I put a lot of care and effort into putting together a dinner party. Mm-hmm. I buy lovely food. It's a time for me to give back to my friends and to people I love and care for. Mm-hmm. And I certainly get a lot out of it. Maybe I get more out of it than my guests do because
it's a two-way street. You're
absolutely.
Giving and receiving from this whole thing. Yes.
But I like to put together a nice meal, something that you would get,
It's better than what you would get in a lot of fine restaurants, to be honest. It is.
Okay, I'm not trying to toot my own horn,
but
but
it
it's
just
good
is.
Food.
Yeah.
And I get so frustrated when someone shows up with a really cheap bottle of wine. It just makes me so upset because it just doesn't show respect to me. And it's not like I'm serving McDonald's. I'm serving, something really lovely. And
but what if they don't know the difference? What if they're not a wine person and they don't, is that maybe one of our tips? If you're not a wine person, don't show up with a bottle of wine for the hostess because some people don't know what a shitty bottle of wine is, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So
if you're not a wine person, don't go to the grocery store and pick up a $6.99 bottle of wine.
Right.
You pick up flowers
or flowers or a candle or something like that,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Another great hostess gift can even be like gourmet spices and seasonings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Things like that.
Something that shows that you care and that you appreciate the invitation and the evening that you're going to. Mm-hmm. If you went to the movies, you probably end up spending $55, $60.
Definitely. The movies
candy
now.
And popcorn and 2 tickets. God help you if you're going to see an IMAX.
Oh, yeah. Forget about it.
So it shows respect and it shows that you care and it kind of like you're participating in the evening. Well,
because also if you do bring a lovely bottle of wine and then you can also say, I'd love to have this with dinner if it's appropriate to go with the meal. And as a hostess, I oftentimes appreciate that because it is that they are participating in the experience and everyone then is invested in that. And I like that.
Yes. And if you aren't a wine person and you do want to bring wine or it was requested of you to bring wine, because sometimes people ask, what can I bring?
You can always
easy.
call. You can always call and ask. That's okay. That's not a faux pas. Like anything, never be afraid to ask.
Yeah. Is there something specific you want or is there a specific varietal that you would like? And then go to a store, the grocery store even has people who know a lot about wine and ask. Yeah. Ask, say I'm going to dinner for 6 people and I need to bring a Sauvignon Blanc.
Right.
You may not know what Sauvignon Blanc is, but they will.
Right. And they'll be able to recommend something for you.
Absolutely.
So I love that. And I think that's an area, where people should not be afraid to get help. Google. Again, Google is your friend. Well, real quick before we go on to round 2 of this, which is on we're kind of going into guest territory too.
Into the guest territory.
Because it's 2 sides of the same coin, but we're going to talk about that a little bit of a different way, like as a house guest thing. My biggest pet peeve as a hostess is when people come early. Don't come early. Don't come early. And then expect me to be able to entertain you, talk to you, and don't come early and think that you're going to help me because you're not, because you don't know where anything is in my kitchen. And you're going to be talking to me and I cannot like focus on 50 things at once. So coming early is a big no for a dinner, for a dinner party and most parties, because people need to be set up. I'm also not saying, show up 30 minutes late. That's also a mistake, but that is my biggest pet peeve.
There are very few meals that you can delay by half an hour and for the hostess to be happy with how things are turning out.
Right.
So either because, everybody's been eating their appetizers and then someone shows up late and it changes the flow of the evening. And
it doesn't work. But honestly, I'd rather have someone show up late and start without them than have someone show up when I'm not like mentally prepared to receive them.
If you're a hostess and someone does show up early, I would say very kindly offer them a drink, tell them you're really busy getting things together, and offer them a seat on your sofa. And they can either chill out on your sofa or chat between themselves if there's a couple.
Or if you have someone that's helping.
Be kind, but be clear that you are not available to immediately start interacting with them. Yeah. Because you don't want to stress yourself out.
I get really stressed.
Yeah. By having someone that you feel that you can't be clear with. So I think a lot of times being a great hostess has to be, knowing what is going to work for you in advance and then during the experience, and making sure that anyone who's helping you is also clear on what they're doing.
And communicate and ask for help. That's okay. That's one of the other biggest tips that I would have for being a good hostess is don't be afraid to ask for help. So what I would like for you to do now is add your comments below the video here with some of maybe your greatest, most epic hostessing wins or fails, or questions that you have about hosting that Ashley or I can chime in and answer for you, or maybe even do a follow-up episode on something very specific, because it is a really broad topic. And most importantly, we want you to join in on the conversation and share that with us below. And be sure that you subscribe for new episodes, because we're going to come back with part 2 of this topic of how to be a great guest. So please join us for that, and we will see you next time.